Welcome to Eventual Millionaire. I'm Jaime Tardy, and I'm really excited to have John Spence on the show. He's a strategist, consultant, speaker, utterly amazing guy. You can find him at johnspence.com. Thanks so much for coming on the show today.
It's my pleasure. It's my honor, Jamie.
So it's funny because before camera, we were talking about like you failed out of college and a whole bunch of other things. Tell me about a little bit about that story, because usually we put people on a pedestal, and now we don't. So go ahead.
Well, I gave a TED talk on this years ago, and I'll give you the real short version. I grew up in Miami, Florida, very wealthy family, went to a nice prep school, got admitted to a lot of colleges when I graduated, and I chose the University of Miami because it was near my boat and my girlfriend. Not exactly why you should choose a college. A couple of semesters later, I had this stunning GPA of 1.6. I found out how you get kicked out of college. I went in to register, and I said, there must be some mistake. I didn't get a registration date. And they said, no mistake, we didn't send you one. Problem. My father's one of the top alumni ever to graduate from the University of Miami. The year I got kicked out, he's on the board of directors, and there's a building named after my dad. So you really, you really got to mess up bad, kicked out of a college where there's a building named after your family. Reapplied to college at the University of Florida, where I live now in Gainesville, Florida, and they literally laughed at me. I mean, I remember the woman looking at my transcripts and going, "We don't take people like you. Next, please." And I remember walking down the steps of the registrar's office, sitting on 13th Avenue, 13th Street here, and crying and saying, I'm about to throw my whole life away. I had dreams of being a millionaire, of traveling around the world, of owning companies. And at that particular point in time, my career path looked like I was going to spend most of my time saying, would you like fries with that today? Another big problem, and this is great for your listeners, is I had a 1.6 GPA. All my friends had a 1.2, a 1.0, a 0.9. Yeah, I had the highest GPA of all my friends. I was the academic stud of my group at a 1.6. When I didn't get admitted to U of F, I had to go to a community college here in town. Now the number one community college in America, Santa Fe, awesome school. Back in 1984, when I was there, not quite so much. And I met a professor that turned my life around, a guy named Roger Strickland, and he taught me the three things it takes to be successful in college. And they're very similar for life. Not exactly, but very similar. He said, number one, read the books. At least in college, 90% of the answers are in the books. I'm still a fanatic for reading. I'm sure we'll talk about that. Number two, and this may be the second most important thing I've ever learned, ask for help. He said, ask the teachers, ask the TAs, ask the other students. A lot of people think it's weakness to say, I need help. The most successful and wealthy and happy individuals I've ever met in my life are superb at asking for help, feedback, advice, input, much like you are, the whole show dedicated to it. And then the third one was start study groups. So I'd stand up at the beginning of all my classes and I go, hi, I'm John. I really want to do well in this class. I'm going to have a study group. It'll be my house, 7 to 10 p.m. We'll go out and get a beer afterwards. Anyone that wants to be in the study group is welcome, as long as you have a 3.6 GPA or higher. Nobody ever asked me my GPA because I set the mastermind groups up. But I'll bring you through the whole thing. But I ended up graduating number 3 in the entire United States of America in my major with the help of that team. And got hired by the Rockefellers immediately out of college. And 2.5 years later, was CEO of an international Rockefeller Foundation with offices doing projects in 20 countries around the world. So I went from totally failing out of college to CEO of a multinational company in about 7 or 8 years. And the main thing I learned, and this is very, very powerful, is, and it was from my study groups, you become what you focus on and like the people you spend time with. Whatever you read, whatever you study, whatever you fill your mind with, and whoever you choose to spend your time with will pretty much determine what your life will look like in the future. And that's why today I still have mastermind groups. I have 18 CEOs that come to my house about once a month. We sit down, we help each other, we talk, we share books, ideas, big, big, big idea.
That's amazing. Do you think that was sort of innate in you, that you were this smart guy anyway, you were just down the wrong path, and then that's what sort of put you back on it? Or do you think that it changed you?
I think it changed me. I think I was a fairly bright guy. I mean, I went to a good school and I got admitted to a lot of colleges, but I wasn't applying myself at all. And I didn't think college would be that challenging. So I didn't ask anybody for help. I literally didn't go until the midterm exams my first year. But that was a crucial moment. A lot of people that I know have had to go through something like that. Having a job they hate, losing everything, having an illness. For me, it was facing the reality that I was creating the most problems in my own life. That my mom couldn't fix it, my dad couldn't fix it, my friends couldn't fix it. If my life was going to get better, I had to make it better. So I committed right then and there to becoming an expert on success. I started reading everything, going to every seminar, reading every book, getting mentors. And for, oh boy, that'd be 30 years now, 35, couple years. I've been a fanatic. I read 100 to 120 business books a year, and I have every year since then. And that doesn't count the seminars and the webinars and everything else I listen to in the blogcasts and YouTube videos. Constantly trying to dedicate myself to lifelong learning. And I think through all that, I made myself a little bit smarter. But, you know, I said that all the answers were in the books in college. In real life, the answers aren't in the books, but the information to figure out the answers is in books or on the internet or on YouTube channels and things like that. So you need to go look for that to get the raw material you need to come up with the answers.
Ooh, that's good. So self-responsibility was huge for you. I want to ask you about
Huge.
books because
Yeah.
I see all the books that you have. And if you read that many books, so many people are asking about like what was pivotal in your life for books as you were going through. Was there anything that really made a big difference or a couple books that made a big difference to you?
Well, I'll tell you a couple of books, but I'll tell you the thing that made such a big
Ooh,
difference
good.
with books. First of all, it allowed me to get stellar grades in college. After I failed, when I restarted, once I started reading the books, I would even go to the professors and ask them if there was extra books I could read for class. Woo, not a well person, but I would read them, and then the other students would wonder why I had the highest grade in the class. And I don't think it's because I had the highest IQ. I had the access to the most information. Then when I got my first job with the Rockefellers, I remember that the first year I worked there, everybody got a $500 bonus and I got a $1,000 bonus. The second year, they all got a $1,000 bonus. I got a $3,000 bonus. The third year, they got a $3,000 bonus and I became CEO. And the reason was I'd be sitting in a meeting. I had 4 billionaires on my board and everyone else was worth more than $100 million each. Very, very aggressive group that was used to excellence. And we'd be sitting in a meeting and one of the billionaires would say, does anybody have an idea on this? And I go, well, I was reading a book by Tom Peters last night. It said this, and I was reading this and that and the other. And I'd throw 5 or 6 ideas out from other people. And he would go, let's go with Spence's idea. And I went, funny how that works. And that's worked ever since. I've realized that my income rises in proportion to the amount of knowledge you get. And it doesn't have to be books. A lot of people don't like to read. It can be audiobooks. It can be blogs. It can be videos, whatever works best for you. And I actually, instead of me going into it, there's a ton of books. If folks go to my website, johnspence.com, there's a button there that says resources. And there's a list of the top 60 business books I've ever read in my life out of probably three or 4,000. So, not and a free resource. Everything on my website's free.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay, cool. So we're going to link up to that so everybody can take a look for sure. So what's the difference though? Because I know that the people I interview are voracious readers, but there is a big difference between someone who's just intaking information and consuming and actually using and taking action on. So where is that balance?
Well, I'll tell you quickly how I learned that. When I became CEO at the foundation, Mr. Rockefeller had a right-hand man named Charlie Owen. And I was very young and, obviously did not know everything, what I was doing at all. So Charlie became my mentor. And Charlie taught me 2 great ways. A, he would bring me to stuff like, we're going to go buy this company for $330 million cash. Come along, sit in on negotiation, watch how we do it. Great, great, great way to learn through a mentor. Number 2, every Monday he would walk in my office and hand me a book. And every Friday I would meet him for lunch and I had to make a book report. But here's the key idea. It was really cool. He would say, now, John, what are the 3 things you're going to apply out of that book? And I would tell him, and he would write them down. And he would say, you will now be held accountable for doing that in your job. So when I read a book now, I'm always looking for what can I use here? What can I take away? I'm not reading it just for the fun of reading it. I'm looking for applicable information, teachable ideas, things that will make a difference in my business or my life. And then I also am big about underlining it, highlighting it. I do the same thing in ebooks. And then as soon as I'm done, I take all that highlighting and summarize it down into just one piece of paper that gives me all the key ideas in the book. And then I study that over and over again.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Only one other millionaire that I've interviewed, his name's Nathan Lacka, he's 25, does that same thing that you do, where he takes the one and he does a one sheet, which is like so impressive. How long does it take you to make that one sheet for, I mean, you've done that many books. How long is it?
It takes a couple hours to read the book, maybe another hour to go through. And I use, now I use Dragon Naturally Speaking software. So I just hold the book in front of myself and read it to the computer. and it gets everything. Or I give it to a virtual assistant or an assistant, and that's what I used to do before. Now they type it in. I enjoy now reading it in for two reasons.
Hmm.
One is I can add comments as I'm reading my highlighting in
Hmm.
and go, oh yeah, well, this means this to me, and I'm applying it to this idea. So not only am I getting the highlighting, but and then I have a recording of it that I can listen to in my car.
Wow, that's so smart though. Oh my
Yeah, it's my own
gosh.
little audiobooks.
Yeah, so you're just taking the key ideas that were really, really important out of those books, and then you have audio and transcription. That's
Yeah, and the key to all that is pattern recognition.
hmm.
It's what I built my entire career, and I'm sure you've talked to a lot of the millionaires you've interviewed, that one of the ways they're successful is they're able to look at a huge amount of information and figure out the pattern. What's the trend? What's the anomaly? And how can I take advantage of that? So I built an entire career on pattern recognition.
Okay, tell me more about that because I want to dive in deeper to what you actually do and how you help businesses and that sort of thing. So, like, I was reading on your website, you have an audit and a bunch of other really cool things. So, when you first go into a company or a small business, I mean, 'cause that's who
Yeah,
we're talking to right now, like a small business, what do you do and how can you help us do that?
cool. And I do a lot of different things. I do probably 50% of my work is large training classes for big companies or major speeches at conferences. But when I work with a smaller company, and that might be two, well, not two, but maybe 10, 15, 20 employees, but also solopreneurs, the audit I use is what I call an organizational effectiveness audit. And it's just 28 questions based on 20 years of experience around what are the things that make or break a business? What are the key ideas and how well are you doing at them? It's basically a chance to hold up a mirror and say, and instead of me going, here's what I think, which really isn't that important, here's what your staff thinks. Here's what your customers think. Here's what the market thinks. I'm big on it if I'm going to help a business, not telling them what to do, but helping them look at data and facts that are pretty much irrefutable and saying, if these are the facts, what do we need together to get them where you are? So the whole audit's on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being world class, 1 being terrible. And I basically look at them and say, any place you're a 5 or lower, we got to work on. 7 is good. How do we get these all to 8, 9, or 10? And then we figure out the specific steps to take those gaps and close them.
How do you get that data?
Oh, I do it through SurveyMonkey.
Oh, really?
Just do a confidential survey through SurveyMonkey. Got the questions. I've already done it. Send it out to the entire staff. I've got 3 firewalls in it, so it's completely
Huh.
confidential. And that way I could give them back a report that says, here's exactly what people said. And I've got some open-ended questions so they can type in answers. I take all those, I'll massage them and move them around so nobody can figure out who said them. But on the scales, it's just pretty clear. Scale of 1 to 10. Actually, the surveys are 1 to 5. 1 to 5, what's your average score? If it's below a 3.5, we have a problem.
What are some of the questions that are on something like that you're looking for?
Do we have an organization with open, honest, robust, transparent communication? Are there high levels of trust within the team? Do we always give our best work? Does our executive team work as an effective team? Are we highly customer focused? Do I trust and respect the people I work with? Do I feel like I get to use my best abilities every day? Things like that. A lot of it's taken from the major surveys, like the Gallup engagement poll and stuff. And because I read so many of these, I see a question, I'll go, oh, that's really good. And most of the questions are based on problems I've seen that companies struggle with that cause them to go out of business. So I'm looking to try to indicate how are we doing in this really critical area. And if it's like, customer focus, if your average score on customer focus is 2, you're likely not to have a lot of customers in a while.
That's good to know in advance because that's going to happen really soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. So then let's say you get all that data back. What are some of the common problems that you need to sort of close the gap on?
That's a great thing. And I'll give you 2 things here. And I'll give you an equation, and then I'll give you some other ideas. I boiled down pretty much everything I've seen in every business I've worked with around the world into a small equation of 4 fundamental things. Whether you got 1 person in your company, 10 or 10,000 or 100,000, it's still the same 4 things. And the equation is, and it's in brackets, T plus, well, let me do that backwards for the video. T plus C plus ECF times DE. T
Okay.
plus C plus ECF, boom, times DE. I'll explain it now. T stands for talent.
Okay.
For the most part, and pretty much everybody watching this, the quality of the people that you can get, grow, and keep on your team and the relationships they create with your customers are one of the only sustainable competitive advantages left. Many, many companies, if not most, are totally dependent of the quality of the people they get on their team, or if they don't work for you in your network. So talent is essential, which means that talent acquisition, talent retention, and talent development and talent retention should be a strategic objective. Your business is going to or live or die by the quality of the people you can get. Big idea. That's the T. The C stands for culture. And there's two things you want in culture. You want a winning culture that gets employees engaged and excited and passionate and having fun. And I've got a great phrase here that's absolutely critical. Just remember this: the customer's experience will never exceed the employee's experience. So, yeah.
So good. So
The
good.
number one factor in highly satisfied, engaged, and loyal customers is highly satisfied, engaged, and loyal employees. So, people ask me all the time, what is it? Employee first, customer first. It's very clear. Hire talented people, give them a winning culture, really treat your employees well. And that doesn't mean paying them lavishly. We can talk about that later if you want to.
Yeah.
But create a winning culture. When they're engaged, they'll engage the customers. However, there's the other side of the culture that says you also have to deliver business results. It's not all about fun and game and foosball and sushi and massage chairs. I like all that stuff. But at the end of the day, they also have to deliver profitability to the company, deliver the business results. So you got to balance those two things in culture between a really engaging culture of fun for the employee, where they come to work every day with high levels of accountability and proactivity and passion and deliver the results for the business. The ECF stands for extreme customer focus, extreme customer focus. Another phrase I like here is whoever owns the voice of the customer owns the marketplace. Whoever understands the customer the best, their needs, their wants, their wishes, their fears. And I find out that most businesses, probably 90% of the businesses I work with worldwide, from brand new startups to the top of the Fortune 100, are pathetic at truly listening to their customer, deeply understanding their customer. Huge advantage there too. If you know your customer better than the competition, you have a huge opportunity that they don't see. Then you take those first three things: talented people, winning culture that delivers results, extreme customer focus, and you multiply it by disciplined execution, which is basically accountability, personal and mutual accountability, and delivering the business results. I've been teaching a class at the Wharton School of Business as a guest lecturer for about 14 years. And every year, it's an executive level class. I have only presidents and CEOs of companies in my class. And every year I ask them, what percentage of companies that know what to do, know how to win, they've got a good product, they got a good plan, what percentage of them effectively execute their plan? And the answer for 14 years has been 10 to 15%. So it's not a lack of knowledge. And this is the same thing with individuals. I mean, why is everybody not a millionaire? Because only about 10% or less of people have the disciplined execution and personal accountability to do what they know they need to do.
Wow. Okay, so now we have to dive into every single one of these, though, because that's awesome. So let's start with talent. So how do you get these amazing people, and how do you know that they're the right people on your team?
Cool. Two answers. Remind me to give you the second one. The first one I'll tell you is what attracts them. I just did a study of 10,000 high potential employees at top companies around the world. Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, every company you can think of. And I interviewed their very best high potential employees. And these are the kind of people you would love to have on your team. These are also kind of people that I call voluntary employees. They're so good at what they do that if they quit their job at 9 a.m. in the morning, they'd have a job at the competition by noon. They're that good. So they don't go to work because they have to at that company. They go to work because they want to, because they could work anywhere they wanted to. So I asked them, why do you work where you work? And they gave me 6 answers. And this is the stuff that absolutely attracts and retains the best people. Number one was fair pay, not exorbitant pay. And the way they defined it was 10% above or below what I would make to do the same job anyplace else. As long as you get parity on pay, I'm roughly making about the same, you can hire top talent, as long as you got these other 5 items. The next one was challenging / meaningful work. I want to do work that's engaging, exciting, where I really challenge myself. And at the end of the day, I feel proud of the work I did. The next one was cool colleagues. I want, A players want to play with other A players. I want to work with cool, high integrity, honest, proactive, neat, bright people. Number 4, that would be then, is winning culture, what we just talked about. Engaging, fun, exciting culture. Number 5 and number 6 are really important. And when you get up the echelon, these are the things that really keep top talent or make you lose top talent. Number 5 is I want both personal and professional growth. I need to be able to look back over the last week or the last month and realize that I learned something new. I had training, I had a mentor, I had a coach, they sent me to a seminar, but I'm getting smarter. I'm getting more skills as being a result of working in this company, personal growth. And I need to be able to look up and see that there's a place for me 5 to 7 years out. If top talent feels like they're bored, like they're not learning, there's no new skills, or they look up and realize there's no job for me, I'm as high as I can go in this company, they'll leave as fast as they can. Unless you get to the sixth and final one, which is working for a leader I respect and admire. 88% of people that quit their jobs do not quit the job, don't quit the hours, don't quit the pay, don't quit the workload. They quit their immediate supervisor, their idiot boss. The reverse is a lot of these people that I talk to said the main reason I stay in the company I work for, maybe even they don't get all the other things, is I really, really respect and admire the person I work for and want to stay working for them. I really love my boss. Big idea. And then now I'll add in the second part, which is how do you do this is you need to create and I don't want to use consulting terms, but a competency model or a template of the ideal employee. Look at your best employees now or sit back and think about this before you interview anybody. Before you interview and say, what are the must-haves? What are the stuff this person absolutely has to have? What are the nice-to-haves and what are the secondary and then what are the nice-to-haves? And if they don't meet pretty much all of the must-haves, no matter how cool or nice or cute or friendly or fun they are, don't hire them because they probably won't work out. And, there's an old cliche, hire slow, fire fast. Mm-hmm. I think that one hits the nail on the head there. And let me recommend a book here. The single best book I've read on hiring and the hiring process and the HR process is a book called Who, W-H-O, by Jeff Smart. I've owned or been the CEO of 8 companies, some of them large, some of them small. My firm is small now. If I was back to hiring people again, that would be my Bible. I would open that thing up and read it every time before I hired anybody.
I love this. Okay, so one quick question on the talent side. What do you do for people? Do you want people to already know the skill set? Because I've heard okay, you hire for the person. I use the culture index to try and hire people. And so we hire for the person. And even if they don't have the skill set, we're willing to train them. But it can take a while. So do you agree with that or?
Yeah, well, there's a great phrase I learned from a CEO of a big company, hire for attitude and aptitude, train for skills. They're going to need some fundamental skills. If I'm going to hire an engineer, I need them to have gone to engineering school. I don't necessarily need them to have a 6.7 GPA. So hire the best person you can. They've got some general basic skills, but they have an aptitude to learn. They're really good at learning. And then most important, they have the right attitude. Because here's the deal. If someone's got some foundational skills, they've got aptitude, they won't learn great, I can train them. But if someone lies, or they don't like other people, or they don't play well on teams, there's no class I can send them to. There's no seminar they can go to. That's who they are. They're likely not going to change. And I'll give you a quick tip that I used to use when I hired key people in my businesses. Senior executive or a critical role is after we've done all the interviewing, we've done all the tests, we called all of the what do they call those, references, check everything, and we do team interviewing. And then everybody in the team said, this is who we want to hire. I'd invite them back to my office and say, we're going to offer you the job. I'm going to tell you about the offer right now, but you cannot accept it. I want you to go home. I want you to think about this, talk to your wife, talk to your husband, talk to your dog. I don't care who you talk to, but I need you to really think about this. And here's why. If you take this job just because of the salary, the benefits, and the vacation, I will figure it out really quick and I will terminate you as fast as I possibly can. If it's just a job for you, I will see through that in the first 90 days and you will be gone. And I will not be a good reference. On the other hand, if you like our vision, our values, what we do, you've enjoyed the people you've met, you like the sort of culture we have here, you've got a passion for what we do, you're not really worried about how much money I'm going to offer you, as long as it's fair, you'll take the job, then please take this job. This might be the last job you ever have. You might retire from here. But if it's about the money and the other stuff, don't take the job. Here's the interesting thing. 70% of the people did not take the job. 70.
That saves you so much time and money. Oh my gosh, just from that one thing.
Yeah, I had somebody ask me once, what are you running a cult? And I said, yeah, it's a cult of excellence. You have a problem with that? And he went, no, I'm fine with that. That's good.
Oh my gosh, that's insane. That's so smart though, because I mean, most people will do that, and then you cleared them off the calendar before you even had to put them on. That's so
Yeah,
smart.
and I only want people that are dedicated and
Heck yeah.
passionate and want a career and a calling and a craft, not a job. And everybody listening to this cast, video cast, I'll call it. I was going to say podcast, but it's not. Everybody listening and watching this understands this. You never become super wealthy working for somebody else. So you need to find the right individual who doesn't have a dream of being a millionaire or a billionaire, that wants to do a great job, that's passionate, but doesn't want to run the place. Because if you've got somebody like that, they're great for a while, but then they're going to quit and go start their own job, which
That's what
I think is
happened to
great.
me. Kendra is
Yeah.
leaving. Darn it. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I knew this, but in advance though. And the hard thing is that I love entrepreneurship. So there's no way in heck I would ever want to stop someone from pursuing their dream in any way, shape, or form. Like, no, please go. I totally get it. But it's also like, crap, now I have to train someone else, which takes a while.
I've run several professional services firms. I own an advertising firm for years. I know now, and I knew then, that the people that work for me that do that kind of work, if I can't give them a major promotion or make them a partner in my business in about 5 years, they should leave. They've learned everything they can from me.
Yep.
They understand our industry. They understand. Hopefully, they won't set up shop right across the street and compete with me, but that's fine. But I didn't want to make people partners in my business. I own the business. I took all the risk. I wanted to get the highest reward. I paid them lavishly, but at a certain point, you say, I can't give you any more. You're making double what anybody else in this community makes doing the same job. It's time for you to leave. And you wish them well and hope them well. And one of the things I'm the most proud of in my entire career is almost everybody that's worked for me in a major position in any of the companies I've run are now the owners of their own companies or CEOs of large companies.
That's awesome. That's huge.
Well,
yeah.
It's hiring good people.
Yeah. Amazing. Okay, so let's move on to the culture. How do you create, especially on like a smaller team, how do you create a culture and how do you balance that? Because disciplined execution is really important. So you have to sort of like balance, hey, we can't just do massages all the time, right? What are the...
Yeah. Well, let me give you, there's 9 keys to building a great culture and 5 keys to accountability. So remind me to give you the 5 keys to accountability after that. Based on a whole bunch of research and my experience with all the companies I've worked with, there's basically 9 key things you need to build a winning culture. Number 1 is it needs to be a fun place to work. When I say fun, it doesn't mean, rock climbing walls and we're constantly putting whoopee cushions under everybody's chair. But here's the way to test this. People smile just as much when they come to work as when they leave. If they're happy when they get there and they're happy when they leave, you probably have a fun place to work. And you can feel the energy, you can feel the vibe. Number 2 is it has a family atmosphere. We genuinely care about each other. We ask, how was your weekend? How's your wife feeling? I heard she was sick. How's your daughter's soccer game? How's your son doing in baseball, whatever it might be. So it's a family atmosphere. Number 3 is I work with people that I would consider my friends, sometimes even my best friends. Now, it doesn't mean I have to be friends with everybody in the company, but I do genuinely think a couple people here are folks I really, really like. Number 4 is I'm treated fairly. And that's not pay. That's the rules are fair, the hours are fair, the workload's fair. And if there's a problem, I know that my voice will be heard. I'll be treated fairly. Money was not on this list, but again, if you get 10% above or below, you're fair on pay. Next one was freedom. I want the training, the resources, the help, and then I want autonomy and personal accountability. Let me go out and do my job. Don't micromanage me. The next one was pride. I want to take pride in the organization I work for. I'm proud when I hand out the card or I wear the shirt or the hat, or when I'm at a party, people ask me where I work. I want to feel proud of the work we do. The next one was praise. And that's some sort of genuine, honest, sincere praise once every 7 to 10 days. And a lot of people go, oh my God, I spent all my time praising my people. It's not just the leader, it's everybody in the company. And this is a big, big idea here. It's creating a culture of catching people doing things right. In most businesses, if you mess up, 99% of the time, someone's going to be there to point that out rather quickly. But if you do something good, about 99% of the time, nobody says anything. I think that's a bad way to run a business. So you create a culture where everybody's focused on not only accountability, but also catching people doing things right. And then now that's the first 7. And for about 20 years of that study, those 7 were the strongest. And 2 more joined the list. Thank you, millennials. Which is fair and supportive. Fair and supportive. Okay. So you're looking at, and it's can I have, is there, no, it's meaning and supportive. Oh. So is my boss supportive? Are they compassionate? Do they love me? And do I find meaning and accomplishment in my job? So when you look at those things, fun place to work, family atmosphere. I work with my friends. I have freedom. I'm treated fairly. I take pride. I get praise. I have meaning, accomplishment. Uh, those are the things that people look for in a winning culture. Now, how do you balance that with accountability? Here's the 5 keys to accountability. By the way, you didn't know I was going to talk the entire time.
I knew. Sorry, I didn't warn you.
So this is work I did with a couple of clients to try to get this down. And people always were like, how do you be accountable without being a bully or being mean or ruining the culture? Here's how you do it. Step 1, if you're going to hold somebody accountable for something, and it's not everything, this is mission critical stuff, big stuff, you need to get 100% clarity plus appropriate authority and resources. You've got to sit down with that person you're going to hold accountable and say, this is the budget, this is the timeline, this is what success looks like, here's how we're going to measure it. This is as much information as you can possibly give to get 100% clarity, and then ensure that they have the appropriate resources, everything they need, and enough authority to get it done. Key idea. The next one is 100% agreement. That person needs to look you in the eye and say, I understand the budget, I understand the timeline, I understand the metrics, I understand all that other stuff. I believe this is a reasonable goal, and I accept 100% accountability. I've asked probably 60,000 small to medium-sized business owners in the last 2 years, how many of you on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being world-class, would say that you're a solid 9 or a 10 on always getting 100% clarity plus appropriate authority and resources and 100% agreement on all of your most important projects? And the answer is 0.
Okay, good. Phew.
Not one person, actually a guy in Australia raised his hand. I went, are you sure? He went, no. He put his hand down. And I had a young lady in Miami Beach raise her hand, real enthusiastically. Are you sure? She goes, what was the question again? My manager told me to raise my hand. So I said, put your hand down too. So don't feel bad, nobody. But now that I say it, it makes total sense. Now, number 3 is track and post. If you're going to hold people accountable for a goal, you need to let them know where they stand against that goal. And the 2 key things with tracking and posting is make it highly visible and super easy to understand. I can see at a glance, it's green, yellow, red. It's thumbs up, thumbs middle, thumbs down. I can look at it, immediately know where I stand, no guessing. And then number 2, put it up so everybody can see everybody else's goals in the entire company, from the top of the company to the bottom, everywhere. Cut down all the trees, no place to hide. Here's what happens. About 10% of the people in the organization love this. They're your A players, your stars. They're going to nail it. They're going to be green, 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 green. They love to be tracked because everyone sees how awesome they are.
Yep.
About 70 or 80% of the people in the middle of the thing go, they're like deer in headlights. They're going to track everything and post it. And they're freaked out. And about 10% of the people fall on the ground like a 2-year-old with a wet diaper, start crying. It's not fair. And you go, it's been a pleasure working with you. Make them available to industry, right? So what do you do about that big group in the middle that's scared to death? Step number 4, coach, mentor, train. When they start to slip, when they go from green to yellow, you don't run in and yell at them. You run in and help them. People parachute them from the sky, So every time, because most people equate tracking with punishment. You're going to track me so you can yell at me. You're going to track me so you can withhold bonus. You're going to track me so I don't get my stock option, whatever. What you need to do is change that around and say, no, we're tracking you to ensure you get bonus. We're tracking you to ensure you get stock options or whatever it is. We want you to stay in green all year long, because if you go from yellow to red, it not only hurts you, it hurts the whole company, hurts the team, it hurts me as the owner. I don't make any money. So as soon as they can make that paradigm shift from tracking equals punishment to tracking actually equals coaching, mentoring, training, and help, they want more tracking. Which leads me to the 5th and final one, which is celebrate success lavishly. And again, I don't mean throwing around money. I mean a Starbucks card, employee of the month, a trophy, dinner out with their spouse, whatever it might be, your partner, maybe some money. I don't know, whatever you want to do. And then the other side of that is deal decisively with mediocrity. If someone is consistently yellow, red, yellow, red, yellow, red, you do everything you can to help them. Everything. I've got a great Jack Welch quote I love. I never fired anybody who was surprised. So you make it very clear that they're on the verge. And then if they don't get back up in green, you politely let them go. And one of the reasons you do everything you can to help them is you got to remember that everybody else is watching how you terminate other people. And if somebody's doing great and they're fine and they got all green and everything, all of a sudden the next day they're not there, everybody starts looking around like, I didn't know Bob was in trouble. Did you know Bob was in trouble? He just got vaporized, And then they go, I wonder if that'll happen to me. But if they see you go through a fair, methodical process, you're trying, you're doing everything you can, then they realize if they start to get in trouble, you'll be fair with them.
So how do you come up with those goals and decide what is green versus red?
Some of them are going to be tied to major metrics in the business: profitability, membership, customer satisfaction. The best way I've ever found is to ask the employee,
Hmm.
what do you think you need to deliver? What do you think a good metric is? I was working with a company years ago in Texas, due diligence firm, said, and about a $50 million a year company, and they had 6 partners who had never been tracked, never had any kind of metrics, nothing. They just showed up and did their best. And we wanted to put them on something like this. So I just asked them, how should you be tracked? And one of the partners looked right at me and goes, oh, that's simple. Utilization rate, hourly blended rate, number of projects under management, number of people under management, money in the pipeline. That's impressive.
Good.
I said, do you have numbers for that? He goes, oh, of course. 90% utilization rate, $250 blended hourly rate, 3 projects under management, 10 people under management, $2 million in the pipeline. I go, that's good. Is everybody else comfortable with that? And they went, yes. I go, great. You've now got your metrics. And within 4 months, it became obvious that 2 of the partners weren't anywhere close on those metrics, not even close. And they both quit because they realized they could not stand having everybody else in the firm know that they were doing 20% of the work everybody else was doing.
Wow, that's awesome. That works out so well. Okay. So let's go on to extreme customer focus. So how do we know that we're doing that, or how do we make that better?
Okay, and the key to that is two ideas, and one really big one, and then one that follows that up. The first idea is moments of truth. In any business, you've got dozens or hundreds of touch points, place where you interact with the customer. But out of those hundreds of touch points, there's only a handful of critical, absolutely essential moments of truth that must be delivered flawlessly. I'll give you a quick example. Restaurants. There's about 170 touch points to going out to dinner, with your partner, your friends. Could you get into the parking lot easy? Was it well lit? Was it clean? Was the temperature right? Was the music too loud? There's a whole bunch of stuff. But in every restaurant, there's basically only 4 moments of truth. 4 things you've got to do flawlessly every time for every customer to make them a customer evangelist, to make them love you. Hey, one of my friends walking past the door, out the window. Next door neighbor is really polite. I don't have a regular office. You'll get a kick out of this. I have a little man cave. I have a 3-bedroom house that's about 7 miles from my regular home, where I have all my books and a video stream. So it's my little man cave where I'm hanging out. My neighbors are really nice.
That's so awesome. My second house, my office house.
Restaurants. There's only 4 moments of truth for restaurants. Number 1, good quality food. Number 2, good service. Number 3, reasonable prices for that food and service. And number 4, cleanliness. I've asked thousands and thousands of people. They all agree. So if I take you out to dinner, we get there, the place is awesome, the vibe's nice, the music's great, the parking lot's well lit. We come in, the service is incredible. They sit us down, they make sure that we got our drinks, and they're not hovering, but they're great. We look at the menu, the prices are really reasonable. The food comes out, it's awesome. I mean, the food's the best we've ever had. We're talking about how great it is. And right as we're talking, a big rat jumps on the table, runs around, takes a poop in the middle of your plate. Are you ever going back there again? No. But here's the idea. They got 169 out of 170 touch points. Perfect. They got 3 of the 4 moments of truth, but they missed 1 moment of truth and lost the customer forever.
I'm laughing because that actually happened to me. There was a rat. It was a gorgeous experience. I took my mom out to this wine bar, and my mom is deathly afraid of mice, rats, anything. She jumps on the table. I'm like, oh my God. So that happened to me.
And you and your mom are going back there again,
We have not been back. Though we walk by and we think it's hilarious every time.
You're the first living example I've ever had of this, but they might have done everything else right, but your mom will never step foot in there again.
Heck no.
And I'm sure if she wanted to, she could tell a lot of people not to go there too.
Definitely.
Right? So one of the main ways you have extreme customer focus is understanding those moments of truth and delivering them flawlessly. And I hate process. I'm not a checklist guy. I don't like spreadsheets and everything, but I know this. If you want repeatable success, you must have process. And if there's any place in your business you want process, it's around the moments of truth. That's what you train on. That's where you create process. That's where you create operation procedures and checklists. Because if you nail those, and key idea here too is you have internal and external. External is to your external customer. Internal is to your employees. And if you don't deliver the moments of truth to your employees, they can't deliver the moments of truth to your customers. So the second part of that of extreme customer focus is VOC, own the voice of the customer. Because who's the only person in the world that can tell you what the moments of truth are? the customer. So you got to ask them, and you got to ask them in 1,000 ways, through surveys, through focus groups, through new user groups, through VIP councils, customer councils, net promoter score, basically just short of becoming a pest. Like, you don't want to send them a survey at 10 a.m., then send them another one at noon and go, how'd you like that survey I sent you at 10? That's a little bit too much. But short of that, the more information you know, and you can correlate it. And it's not anecdotal, like, hey, how do you like everything? It's great. That doesn't help me much. Scale of 1 to 10, how was your service today? 8. What could we have done to make it a 9 or a 10? That's the kind of data. So when you own the voice of the customer, understand what's most important to them, then you can understand the moment's truth and deliver them flawlessly. And to me, that's extreme customer focus.
I love that. Okay.
Sounds like I've talked about this once or twice before.
I know. That's what's so great. You're like, I'm like, wow, you know this like the back of your hand, which is important, right? It's very
That's
important.
what I get paid to do for a living.
I know, exactly. You have great moments, right? This is when it counts. So what about disciplined execution? Like, how can we make sure that people are doing what they got to do in order? Because if you have all those other pieces, it doesn't matter
we had the 5 keys to accountability. Yep. So clarity is critical here.
Yep.
The other thing I think is really important is setting clear expectations, not just when you hire people, if this is the kind of work you're really going to be doing, but constantly setting clear expectations and then tying those expectations into, and I'm going to use very specific phraseology here, a vivid, compelling, tightly, sharply focused, and well-communicated vision and strategy for growth. So part of that discipline execution is showing everybody how what they do every day ties directly into the success and the future of the business, which by default is the success and the future of their job, right? So they need to be able to see all those things in winning culture, because then they get engaged. They need to understand accountability in those 5 keys so they understand what they're supposed to do and how they're doing against it. And then they need to be able to see the bigger picture of how does all this fit into who we serve, how we deliver products and services, what our vision is, what our values are, what our strategy is, and how do I play a role in making the company successful.
Okay, so how do we figure out that vision and strategy hardcore? Because there's 1,000 things that it could be. Are there any books or resources? Because the thing is that I was actually at dinner last night with one of the millionaires that I interviewed, and we were trying to think of books about visioning, or like we found like The Alchemist, but that's not really, you know what I mean? What do you have for like strategy and vision at this high level that could help people?
Wow. Well, in all seriousness, a bunch of this is on my YouTube channel, my blog as well. I just did a video on vision, values, mission, vision, and values for one of my clients. But, and there's a couple of good books, and you and I will catch up by email later today.
Okay.
And I think Flight of the Buffalo, Northbound Train by Carl Albrecht is a great one. And I also think True North by Bill George would be a great one too. He's a neat guy, former CEO of Medtronic. He's a friend of mine. I think those two would be awesome. But there's actually a couple of great books out on vision. But here's the thing, having done this for many, many companies, the vision is, where do we want to take the business? Where do we want to be in 3, 4, 5 years? Here's my best piece of advice on that. You don't have to be the best in the world. Everybody wants to be number one, the biggest, the industry leader, the recognized. That's nice, but that's really hard. The price you have to pay to be number one on the face of the earth at something, the best in the world, is extremely challenging. And very few companies have the passion, the drive, the resources, or the talent to do that. I think it's absolutely fine to say among the best, or recognized as one of the best, and run a really profitable, fun company that's not that stressful, with great people, that serves great products and services and helps your community. At the end of the day, you're going home making money, you're paying everybody well, you're not too stressed out, people love your products and services, you're helping your community, you're doing something really cool that very few people can do, right? So the vision doesn't have to be the intergalactic stellar champion of all time. The mission is a real quick way to understand this. Who would miss you if you were gone?
Aww.
If your company ceased to exist tomorrow, who would go, they can't be gone. I love that product. I love that service. I need that company. I need those people. I need that guy or that gal. The mission is who you serve, and why you do it. And the best way is who would miss you. And if nobody would miss you if you're gone, not really adding a lot of value to the marketplace. And then the values are 2 key ideas here. I think some of the values And all the gurus on this will tell you that values are not developed, they're discovered. Some are, and I agree with that. But I also think that if you own a company, you start a company, you have the right to set some core values that you believe in. One of my favorite ones, I'm not a military guy, but I love West Point. We will not tolerate lying, cheating, or stealing, or anyone who does it, period. To me, there's some basic core values that if it's going to be my company or it's going to be my division of my department, we're following these because they're essential to running a great business. Then you can get some other ones about sustainability or compassion or helping your community, contribution. Those are all awesome. People can mess up in business. If you make an honest business mistake, I got no problem with that. Violate the values and I can prove it, you're gone immediately. Because the second you let someone violate the values to stay in the company, you've told everybody else we don't have any values.
Oh, that's awesome. I really appreciate that too. Writing values was difficult when I first did it because you're sitting and looking at a blank page. And I remember chatting with one of my friends who does this often. And I was like, well, everyone wants to put like integrity. Like they want it, but that's like a given. It should be a given, right?
One would hope so. But, in many companies it's not. Let's talk about Volkswagen today. Oh, did I say that? I mean, today's the day that, if anybody watches this later, all over the news is the fact that Volkswagen had a special software program in that would allow them to cheat on emissions control when cars were getting tested.
I didn't know that.
But once you get out on the highway, it was 4 times the allowable. It's probably they're diesels, probably some of the dirtiest cars on the road. But people bought them thinking they were some of the cleanest cars on the road. And it was a special software thing they put in their system so that when you went to get your emissions checked, it could tell the back pressure and change the emissions. And now the huge backlash. Volkswagen Canada just announced, I was listening to the radio, stopping selling all diesel Volkswagens in Canada. That's going to hurt a little bit in the bottom line.
Oh my!
And they've lost trust.
Yeah, heck yeah. Who the heck wants to buy that now?
Integrity. That's brutal. Whoever did that, decided on that, that's a big, big, big mistake.
Yeah.
And it's probably going to cost them billions of dollars.
Wow. And how do you recover from lying to everybody? I mean, that's the thing, right? That's insane.
It's interesting you asked that because I had 5 or 6 emails from people around the country last night saying, would you write a blog about that, John? Huh. How do they recover? And I'll share with you the general area that I'm in is I think they need to go talk to their customers and ask them, how do we recover? What do we do? We've totally violated your trust. We had your trust before. We were a brand you trusted. What do we have to do to earn your trust back? And I don't know if they can right away. It may be a 5, 10 year, 20-year deal to get back to where they were. Nobody knows how much damage it's going to do, but all of the press worldwide is piling on this big time. So it's going to hurt Volkswagen quite a bit.
That's insane. I know we have to start wrapping up. I want you to just keep talking forever. Is that okay? I know we can.
Hours.
Okay, good. The next millionaire might be a little pissed off, but that's okay. No. I'm going to ask you the same last question that I always do because I have to wrap up. But what's one action listeners can take this week to help move them forward towards their goal of $1 million?
Okay, I'm going to do 2 because I cheat.
Do it.
I like that. No. I just talk about integrity.
I know.
No, I wanted to know.
You want to add value. Exactly.
Extra value. I'm going to really, in all seriousness, I want to say 2 big things, 2 key ideas. Number 1, dedicate yourself to lifelong learning. I don't care if it's reading or audiobooks or videos or whatever, but become a fanatic for self-learning, for what I would call personal Kaizen, continuous incremental improvement, 1% better every day. Dedicate yourself to taking 5 or 10% of your time every day and investing it in yourself. And then number 2, I'm a huge fanatic for network. Build the biggest network you possibly can of bright, sharp, smart, talented people that are invested in your success. Those 2 things, what you focus on, who you spend time with, will determine what your life will look like a decade from now. Don't take them for granted. Break off the time, focus on the right stuff, focus on the learning, focus on stuff like this, and surround yourself with the biggest network you possibly can of high integrity people. That would be my absolute best advice.
Yeah, you gave me chills too, because that's what I do. That's what I'm working on. I like, yes, confirmation. Thank you so much, John. Where can we find out more about you, especially all those videos? And I know you said the link to the books and all that. Where do we go? It's
all on johnspence.com. And I've got a YouTube thing there. Connect with me on social media. And if any of your followers have a question, a comment, a concern issue, just shoot me an email. My email is john@johnspence.com. john@johnspence.com. I will say I get about 300 emails a day, and I answer them all personally. So it might take me a week or two to get back to you, but I do answer all my own emails. And if you've got a problem, issue, concern, you can't find something on the website, just shoot me an email and I'll do everything I humanly can to help you.
See, the fact that you give out your personal email address is so ridiculously awesome. Thank you so much for coming on the show today. We really appreciate it.
It's my honor, my pleasure. I've really enjoyed spending time with you today, Jamie.
I hope you enjoyed that interview. I want some engagement from you. Talk to me. Tell me what you got out of that interview. I want to know exactly what actions you're going to be taking, what mind-blowing information you received. Tell us. So go to facebook.com/eventualmillionaire. Of course, like the page while you're there and send us a quick note. I want to know what you actually got out of it. So that way, when I ask questions, I'll be asking the stuff that you want to know. So again, go to facebook.com/eventualmillionaire and sign on in there so I can write back to you. I hope you have an awesome, awesome day. Take care.